Burghart.
Speaker, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak in this historic debate. It's getting late and a good many of the issues that need to be raised have already been raised, but I'd just like to return to a few. I rise in support of the bill for one very good reason, and that's that it's the sort of bill that my constituents would like to see. They voted overwhelmingly to leave the EU, and like me, they want to see us leave in as orderly a fashion as is possible. This bill creates, makes sure that we don't create legal black holes, so grand uncertainty for employers, employees and investors. This is one that allows future parliaments to mend all laws as it sees fit, as they see fit, and in that sense for Parliament to become sovereign again. And it's a bill that is adaptable to the inevitable uncertainties of the Brexit process. All of this the bill achieves, and I think it's to the government's credit and to officials' credit that they've managed to do this under really quite tight time constraints. There are, however, some reasoned and principled objections to the bill, and the way in which it's been presented, and it's clear that some parts of this House are going to require guarantees over the so-called Henry VIII powers. It was mooted earlier, I think, by my right honourable friend, the member for Rushcliffe. This might be possible if the government sets a legal limit on its ambitions, the ambitions that they've already set out, colleagues. That said, we must not, in our admirable quest for parliamentary scrutiny, forget that this is a fiendishly complex transfer of legal powers, the like of which this House has never seen. And for that reason, Mr. Speaker, we must afford the government a degree of plasticity. We do not yet know how the final deal will turn out. We do not yet know when such a deal will be available to this House. This bill must be adaptable to permit that process to proceed as best it can and to allow for a multitude of outcomes. Getting that give and take on particular clauses and powers will take time. If this House finds that it does not have enough time at committee stage, it must have more. And call me boring, Mr. Speaker, but I was a little disappointed. I was a little disappointed on Thursday when the House didn't sit past 5. And it was very sad to see such big beasts manacled to a 5-minute time constraint. And I heard the Father of the House quite rightly pooh-pooh the Blairite family-friendly hours under which we labour. Family-friendly? Is someone yanking my chain? Who of us here gets to put our children to bed of a night? As it is, we should carry on sitting until our work is done. If we have to sit late, if we have to sit some Fridays, if we have to think about the length of recess, then we must. The importance of getting this bill right goes way beyond those concerns. This is a job that requires sacrifice. But it is my firm belief that this bill can be got right. And I know that members opposite feel the same way, because in all of the hours of debate that we have had, none of them have managed to raise a serious reason why this bill should be voted down at second reading. And I think, of course.
Mr. Speaker, this debate is not about if, but it's about how we leave the EU. Mr. Speaker, I was elected to this House very recently to speak up for constituents, not as a spectator. I want Parliament to take control, stand up for democracy and protect parliamentary sovereignty.
Thanks very much for that intervention. Look, as I say, I know that honourable members opposite me feel the same way, because they haven't raised a single meaningful objection, some reason why this bill should be voted down at second reading. As my right honourable friend for West Dorset said with the logician's concision on Thursday, to say that we will oppose the whole bill because we disagree with a few clauses is a non sequitur. And a non sequitur it is. But if we go hunting for the sequitur, I believe that we can find it in the admirably principled intervention made by the member for Don Valley earlier. The truth is that if this bill were to fail tonight, it would be very difficult to bring a bill back. The government would have to introduce a new bill in a new session, or this one would have to be reintroduced in a suitably different form so as to not fall foul of the same question rules. In short, voting this bill down runs the risk of no bill. It runs the risk of legal black holes, of terrible uncertainty, of investor panic and economic shock. That is what the side opposite will be voting for tonight. And I'll go further than that. The opposition front bench knows full well that if they were to defeat the government tonight, they would not stop there. They would try to bring the government down. The opposition wishes to vote this bill down tonight because it knows that defeat on such a central piece of legislation might cause the government to fall. That is their motivation. Nothing more, nothing less. The Shadow Secretary of State doesn't want the government to go back to the drawing board. He wants the drawing board for himself. He says he wants the Article 50 process to succeed, and I believe him. But I don't believe he wants this government to succeed in doing it. And I believe he will put the interests of his party above the interests of the country in that. If the Secretary of State Shadow Secretary of State succeeded in his aims, we know that he would only do so after a period of terrible turbulence for the country and after a terrible loss of time. And time, Mr. Speaker, right now is a terribly precious commodity. He says that he sees this not as a great repeal bill, but as a great power grab bill. Well, that is certainly the purposes for which he intends to use it. He is accusing this side of that of which he is guilty. So I ask him to do the honourable thing and to put his political ambitions on ice for the purposes of the vote tonight, so that this House can move more quickly to a detailed discussion of the essential clauses within it.
Yeah.